Hey, what is up everyone? Professor Danny and Alex. Today we're going to look at some mount techniques in Jiu-Jitsu, so check it out. All right, first technique we're going to look at is a basic cross-collar choke. All right, everyone should know this. Everyone should have these types of techniques in their game, okay? So we're going to open up the lapel, right? This is referred to as a lapel for those of you who are starting out. And then we're going to slide our hand using our palm towards the ceiling inside that lapel, all right? So it's important when you do this that you always bring your thumb against his neck, because I want this portion of my wrist and not the flat portion, right? We talk about this in previous videos. Every time I do a mount video, I always like to start with these basic techniques in case someone is new and viewing the videos and you just caught on the channel, right? So these techniques everyone should have. So again, here, this is my first grip. Now the second grip, I'm going to use a palm down technique, all right? So because I'm using this one, I don't want to go underneath. It's going to get all bundled up and I have no space to put this palm inside. So I'm just going to simply go on top. But now it's going to be the opposite. The first hand, my four fingers are inside, the thumb's on the outside, but the second hand is going to be thumb on the inside, and now the four fingers are going to stay on the outside of his jacket right now. Now from here, what I'm going to do is look, I'm going to bring my hands and make sure that I turn them like this, because sometimes during the adjustment, you go back to having your thumbs towards the ceiling a little bit. What I want to do is turn the thumb towards the neck. In this case, because the palm is down, the thumb is going to be away from the neck. All right, so everything is going to be the bone of your wrist nice and tight against his neck. And now we're going to bring the elbows underneath our chest, and now we're going to lean and post our head towards the top hand. So we're going to insert this one here, one, and then this one's going to go on the opposite side. See, it's almost like I'm shaving, see? Boom. And now I lean into it, which causes the tap. Now we're going to start a little bit on the side, because what's going to happen now, we're going to look at the same choke and you get rolled over. Okay, so I'm going to put my hand inside the jacket. The second hand goes in, but because my arms are crossed like this, what he's going to do is hold my arms, and now I have no more base, right? So using this technique sometimes, it can occur where he's going to bridge you over. Now you lose this position, but you didn't lose the technique. You're going to ensure to cross your feet behind his back, so make sure everything is tight with your legs. And once you land on your back now, simple adjustment. Look, you're going to punch your arms in, re-grip it, and now lean to finalize the choke. And always where the top hand is, that's where your forehead goes. Now we're going to look at another simple technique everyone should know. It's called the shoulder lock, aka the Americana. All right, so look, we're going to lean into his wrist, because the goal is to bring this wrist onto the ground, onto the mat, right? So I need to put all the weight to pin this wrist down. Now once I drive my elbow against his neck, I create a nice frame here so he can defend. All right, so he wants to bring his head back in. If this wasn't like this, he's just going to turn into his wrist, turn to the side, and I don't have the angle to attack the wrist, or the shoulder in this case. So I want to pin his wrist and pin his head to keep it exactly where he is. But now I'm going to use the opposite arm and slide these fingers underneath his elbow and trap my own wrist. All right, this is called a figure four. Now from this motion, all I'm going to do is lean into it and make a circle with his arm. Look, I'm going to raise the elbow up and slide the wrist against the mat. This is the Americana. Now using this, what could happen sometimes is he's going to use the opposite arm to block it and drive his elbow back in. Let me show you. So we're going for this lock here, and look, as I'm using my grip, he's going to bring the opposite hand, and now fingers together, he's going to pull his arm back in, and boom, sometimes you lose that motion. So what we're going to do now is we're going to lean into it. It's very important to lean your head in the way. So using the top of your head, you're going to be able to counter that move. Look, as I pin his wrist down and I go for my lock, when I see that he goes to grip here, now because this grip is very weak with his fingers, I'm going to use my head, push it, boom, and then finalize the lock. So once again, nice little trick, nice little counter, very easy to do. As I pin the Americana, he goes to defend. If this happens, use your head, don't let go of your arms. One, push, and now drive. Now here we're going to counter the opponent's escape attempt by driving his arm underneath your lap, right? This is something you shouldn't do in Jiu-Jitsu, but I've seen it happen a lot. People get desperate. They don't know how to bump you off. So what happens, they're going to create some space here and bring the arm to try to flip you over. So if this happens now, easy counter, right? So look, he brings the arm inside, one. Now just let him go, right? Raise your knee off the mat. But now we're going to trap his arms and pull his arms up. What I need to do with this foot is drive it onto the mat, roll him to his side now. And I'm gonna lock my legs here. Now don't worry about locking the triangle too tight, because what we need to do is an adjustment. So I need to pull the arm to the hip. And now as I hold his head down, I can adjust my feet from here, create an angle, and I'll bring the knee in and finalize. So one more time here, he drives his arm underneath your leg, bring the leg over, see? Grab the arms and pull the elbows up. You want one arm in, one arm out to control them, but look, this leg is gonna slide underneath his head. Now when I roll here, I can either close the guard to hold him down, or I can also maintain my base with this leg nice and tight behind his head. And now I can finalize one, and I'll adjust afterwards and get the choke. All right, the next technique we're gonna look at is a choke from the mount position, right? I like to call this the reverse Ezekiel, right? So the forearm choke. So a lot of times you're gonna grab your gi, and now you're gonna slide this one here or in front like this, right? That's the Ezekiel. But now I'm gonna just do it opposite. So I'm gonna grab my sleeve right away, right? It's very subtle. And we're just gonna lean and hold him like this, right? Doesn't look like much. But now this arm is gonna wait for the opposite forearm to come in. Look, my elbow's gonna drive towards the ground over his shoulder. When it does, look, these fingers are just gonna latch onto my own gi, and now put the pressure forward. So basically, it's almost like a paper cutter choke from the mount position. Okay, so let's look at it one more time. So I just grab the inside of my sleeve, and don't forget, the sleeves you can grab here. I can grab my pants or my jacket, but I'm not allowed to go inside his sleeve or inside his pants sleeve, right? So I wanna go here. If I'm gonna be holding my opponent, I need to grip from the outside, right? But when it's my own jacket, I can grab inside. So we're gonna lean in here, one, and look, bring the elbow towards the fingers, make a grip, and finalize the choke. Now sometimes in the mount position, the opponent's gonna try to escape, and they're gonna turn to their side. So on the same side, he's gonna open up. That leg is gonna point towards the ceiling, right? So if it's here, look, this leg comes up towards the ceiling, and then I adjust the back foot. Now it's important from here to understand that if he were to turn towards me, this is the leg that's gonna come up. So I always wanna go and contour the back of his body, all right? So if he turns here a little bit, from this angle now, once we have this, I like to refer to it as the technical mount position. We're gonna use a choking technique. So look, we have the angle, we're gonna bring his gi to the opposite arm here. Make a nice grip. And now this arm is gonna go behind, grabbing his elbow and behind his head. And now I'm gonna posture in and finalize what we call the single wing choke. All right, so one more time. As I'm sitting here in the technical mount, I'm gonna pull the gi to the arm that's behind his neck, right here. Trap it, grab this arm, bring it behind his neck, and look, I imagine this is gonna push downwards as I posture my upper body upwards. Now from here, there's also the NOGI variation, sometimes what you can do. So as he turns to the side, boom, I land in the technical mount. Let's turn a little bit, Alex. So here, look, I'm going to grab his wrist instead, one, just to here, instead of the jacket. And this arm is gonna go behind the elbow and across his neck right here. So I'm gonna make sure that the forearm and the wrist is against his neck on one side, and my wrist holding his arm on the opposite side. So from here, look, I'm gonna lean in and create the pressure for the forearm choke, or the NOGI version of the single wing. All right, guys, so there you have it. Some basic mount attacks you can do in Jiu-Jitsu. Hope you enjoyed this content. Leave us a thumbs up. And if you are new to our channel, make sure to subscribe for more videos similar to this one. We'll see you
in the next one.
Take care.